My name is Durwood Zaelke. I'm the president and founder of the Institute for Governance and Sustainable Development, a non-governmental organization in Washington, D.C. and Geneva, Switzerland. I'm also the director of the International Network for Environmental Compliance and Enforcement, INECE. That's a trans-governmental network of about 4,000 enforcement and compliance officials in 150 countries around the world.
Thank you. Now, could you explain to us about the importance of judiciary or prosecutors in enforcing environmental laws, particularly related to ozone depleting substances?
There's a cycle we call the regulatory cycle that starts with the lawmakers who design and pass our laws, the inspectors and the police who investigate our environmental law violations, the prosecutors who put together cases against the violators and bring them to the courts, and then, of course, the judges, the supreme power in deciding whether someone is guilty or innocent of an environmental crime or a civil violation. So this regulatory cycle is essential for making environmental law work, for promoting sustainable development, and making sure that the foundation for all of society is firm enough to support us, from the air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat that needs to be free of pesticides and other poisons, and the other amenities that we get from our ecosystems, from our beautiful but fragile planet. In INECE, we use a triangle to describe the relationship between environmental enforcement and compliance. We put at the bottom of the triangle as the foundation for the rule of law, and the rule of law then is an essential ingredient for good governance, essential but not sufficient. And all together, enforcement and compliance, rule of law, and good governance are what we need to promote sustainable development and environmental protection. And none of these are sufficient, but they're all essential. Now, this meeting today focused on how we can use this regulatory cycle to improve the way we control the ozone depleting substances, CFCs in the past, now HCFCs, the hydrofluorocarbons, and the related chemicals. These chemicals are very damaging for the stratospheric ozone layer, and when we lose the stratospheric ozone layer, we are subjected to increased UVB radiation that causes skin cancer in millions of people, also causes cataracts in millions of people, damages the productivity of our agriculture, suppresses our immune system, damages our built environment. It's a very, very damaging set of chemicals. These same chemicals also are very potent greenhouse gases that warm the climate and contribute a tremendous amount to global warming. We can take care of these chemicals, and the Montreal Protocol, as we heard today, is the world's best environmental treaty, and indeed the best climate treaty as well, so far at least. But it does require diligent work by the whole regulatory cycle to ensure good compliance. We're talking about 196 countries around the world with varying levels of capacity. We're talking about a challenge of 147 developing countries. The Montreal Protocol, and in fact the Ozone Action Office in Paris, has done an incredible job building the capacity of national ozone units and helping build the capacity for enforcement and compliance. So we do a very, very good job at this treaty. This meeting today is showing us that, in fact, we can do even a little better.
Well, thank you. You mentioned about capacity. Could you be more specific? What would be your suggestion for capacity building for the judiciary?
Well, when we talk about capacity building for judges, we probably should be talking about updating the knowledge base of the judges. And we should be thinking of how this can be done on a peer-to-peer basis. Judges are among the elites of all societies. They're extremely well educated in almost all cases, have great status and respect in their various cultures. And they do, on their own, continue to follow the developments of the law. But in the case of environmental law, which is a specialty, they could accelerate their learning. And they could do this, I think probably the first and best way would be to look at the environmental judges. Many countries of the world have set up environmental courts. So these judges are specialists in environmental law. They have the knowledge that the general jurisdiction judges generally don't have. And so we could do peer-to-peer. In fact, that's what we do. Judges like learning from one another, from their peers in a respectful environment. They also like learning from other experts, so scientists, professors. You know, they're eager to keep up with the developments in their fields, and they're beginning to appreciate, I think, that environment is going to be one or perhaps even the most important problem facing them as judges in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.